So now I'd love to introduce you to Damie Von Moors. Damie Von is the chair of the Florence Nightingale Foundation, and she's been the chair since January 2019. And my goodness, what a year that we've had with, nearly 2 years now we've had with Damie Von. You'll all be too young to know, but let me just tell you a little bit about Damie Von's career. There isn't enough time, frankly. I'd be here forever, but really in a couple of sentences, Damie Von has had the most illustrious career. She trained as she had a regular nurse training. She went from a student nurse, ward sister, but very soon, and you'll understand why, she escalated, she was escalated up the career ladder, and soon became what we now know as Director of Nursing. And then very soon after that, obviously not by luck, but sheer determination and her ability to be very agile and understand the huge complexities that the nursing midwifery careers present. She then became the Chief Nursing Officer, so the equivalent of Ruth May, both in Wales, Scotland, and then in England. So she has, her pedigree is enormous. She's worked with various governments. She's been, so if Damie Von was the CNO Ruth May today, she too would be having those conversations with Boris Johnson and Matt Hancock, and that's what she's done during the latter part of her career. She never retired. She did a bit, but then she realised she's still got so much to give, and she's had many non-exec jobs since her retirement as a nurse, and also chair of many organisations. But we are really proud, and the nursing and midwifery professions are so lucky to have Damie Von Moors as our chair. She's an incredible support to not only the trustees, but personally to me. She's my inspiration. She's the reason. She's one of the reasons my heart sings every day. She still has the vision for nursing and midwifery that is beyond anybody else's view. She always thinks big, and she encourages myself and Gemma to think big the whole time. So when I said there's still lots to do, we've just finalised, or nearly finalised next Tuesday, what are we going to do in the next few years. We've identified the priorities, but most importantly, we've done such an amazing job in the UK. We now have to support the international nursing and midwifery agendas. So watch this space, and it is with great pleasure. Thank you so much, Damie Von, for giving up your morning this morning. I invite you to just address the Windrush Generation Leadership Programme. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yvonne, we can't hear you, I'm sorry.
I think somebody's muted her.
There we are.
I've unmuted it now. Thank you, Greta, for the introduction. It makes me feel proud to have been part of nursing and its development over a number of years across the UK and obviously across the world in various roles. But nothing makes me prouder than being the chair, and the privilege of being the chair of the Florence Nightingale Foundation. And it's just wonderful to meet you all this morning. I just wish, as Gemma said earlier, that we were all in a room together, that we could be close to each other, hug each other, and just share warmly together. So we're all getting used to this sort of communication, but it's still not as close as I would love it to be this morning with you all. First of all, from me, congratulations. I mean, we are all so proud of each and every one of you, that you've been part of the programme, but also that you've been with us, learning, developing, and using this opportunity. And now, as Greta said, you are one of Florence Nightingale Foundation's nurses and our alumni. So we are continuing your career and the foundation together, I hope, in both directions, us supporting you and you helping us over many years to come. Now, in these few minutes that I have to talk with you, I thought carefully, what would I like to say to you this morning? And I thought about my own career and what has been most helpful to me. And the one thing that has been helpful to me is that I have been inspired by others. And therefore, I'm saying this morning, you must be inspired. You must look for your heroes, just as I have throughout my career. And I want to just share with you just 3 of the people that have inspired me. The first, of course, is absolutely no surprise to any of you. And of course, it's Florence. We would none of us be here without her and all the work that she did, and with others around the world who took forward this leadership and development of nursing. And Mary Seacole, of course, comes to mind. Florence achieved, as my 3 people that have inspired me, achieved against the odds. And that's something that I will come back to later. What is it in Florence that inspired me and enabled me to function at the highest level in government? Well, the first, of course, the use of data. You cannot take a case to a board or to a team and expect agreement and support unless your case is well-founded in facts. And Florence was the absolute epitome of using data, converting it to information, into those facts, supporting her case. She was also demonstrated the power of influence. And this is what we all need to think about. How can we be influential? And it can happen in a number of ways. Of course, we have to feel confident as well as informed, but the power of influence, not just, of course, for our profession and our roles in the profession, but for our patients and for our families and the clients that we serve. Think how you can be influential. You have learned some of those skills in the time you've been together with others. But the other thing that she inspired me on is that we must have empathy. It was her empathy with the sick, the suffering, the poor, the disabled, the needy, her absolute empathy with them that gave her that motivation and that vision. Now, we, of course, empathize with our patients. We show them compassion, and as you have all, particularly through this pandemic. But that empathy needs to be inside a warmth of feeling. And that is what inspired me in Florence. Now, the second person that inspired me, you may not have heard of her. She grew up in a very small village in the community in Botswana many years ago. She did not have access to education, but she saw the books that her brothers were reading, and that inspired her. And from then on, she fought to be educated. And that was at family level and within the community. Ultimately, she gained support through her huge academic attainment within Botswana to go to America, study and train as a nurse, get a PhD, and go back to Botswana with the determination that she was going to set up nursing and midwifery in Botswana, and battled with the government to set that up, which she did against all odds. And she is known as the mother of nursing in Botswana, and her influence across Malawi, South Africa, Zimbabwe, and other countries is enormous. I met her when she was 94 because I was involved in choosing her to be the World Nurse of the Year a couple of years ago. And she, at 94, faced the media, the world's media, who wanted to interview her. And from her wheelchair, gave a strong message to governments across the world that they must support us. So from nothing to that, her name, Serana Coupe Mogui, an amazing and inspiring person. The third person who's inspired me is the first woman in space. It had always been across the world, countries that were wanting to develop space travel and conquering the universe. It was men who were chosen and developed and supported. She battled hard, studied hard, knocked on doors, and became the first woman in space. Her name, Helen Sharman. And she spoke at a conference of miners leaders in England a few years ago. And she left us all with a message that none of us have ever forgotten. Reach for the stars. Be ambitious. You can do it. If I can, you can. Now, these are just 3 examples of individuals that have inspired me. There have been, of course, many more. Some of my own mentors, coaches. So my message is, please find your heroes, the people that will inspire you. What these 3 people share is tenacity, absolute resilience, dedication, qualities that we all have that have been developed in you through this program, this wonderful Windrush program. Use those and be strong with them. Now, the one other thing that has inspired me is that of identifying others. When you can put your finger on someone that you see in your team working with you that has potential, and you help to nurture and support that individual. And I've had occasions where I've done that, and those individuals have been appointed to the job that I have held. The pleasure, the inspiration that gives you, that you have enabled others to commit to make an impact, to make a difference on humanity across the world is very special. And I therefore encourage you to find those individuals and experience that pleasure and inspiration because of how you have developed others to make a difference. So again, well done. We are so proud to have you as one of our alumni. And we so look forward to knowing, of course, of your work through your projects, but much more importantly, I hope the inspiration that this program has given you to make a difference across the world. Thank you.
Wow, Yvonne, that was amazing. I think if we'd been in the room, we would have been able to hear a pin drop. I think everybody was, I couldn't see everybody, but those that I can see, were absolutely motionless, listening to every single word. So reach for the stars, you can do it. If you don't remember anything else today, remember those words. And they're said with such sincerity. Damie Von is an inspiration to us all. So thank you so much this morning for joining us.
My pleasure.
You are a star. Thank you. Bye bye. So let me now pass over to Gemma Stacey. She's the director of the FNF Academy, and she's going to run the rest of the day. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining the session this morning. I'm absolutely desperate to hear about your careers. We do have a longitudinal study that goes on that we want to follow up what happens to you. And so please give your consent for us to do that. It fills us with great pride when we know that people have been promoted, and of course we would say it's because of the Florence Nightingale Foundation. We would say that, and we know it is, but actually it's because of you guys. So reach for the stars, keep going, you can do it. Thank you so much. And Gemma, over to you.
Thank you so much, Rita. So what we're moving on to now is an opportunity for us to really showcase to our audience today. That's yourselves as your cohort, to Liz, to Yvonne, and also to Jenny that's joined us from RADA as well, and also to our communications team that are listening. But what we're doing now is to showcase the impact of this programme and how you have used the skills that you have learned to start to make a difference to practice through your quality improvement projects. So we're going to hear from 5 of you, and the 5 that were selected really stood out to us as people that really demonstrated how they've used their influence, their newfound confidence, their knowledge of quality improvement methodology to be able to change practice. And we can even see that for some of those individuals, they have data to demonstrate that. Now, it was a difficult choice, and I could have probably actually picked 45. Every single person that submitted their abstract would have been a very valid presenter for us to hear, but we had to narrow it down.